rain, kind of cloudy. I was out there this morning and I got drizzled on. We're going to bring in Samara Kokinos in our weather center to tell us a little bit about it. It is definitely a weather alert day.
Absolutely. And you know what, like you mentioned, it has just been kind of soggy outside this morning when I stepped outside to come to work. There was some fog out there just because that moisture is just so noticeable. I mean, it's air you can wear, definitely. So, as we take a look, though, we have been dealing with just some really rounds of rain that are really starting to add up. So, when we look at the actual radar, you can see that spinning motion. This is an area of low pressure that has been dumping a lot of heavy rain all across central Florida this morning, as well as yesterday. We started getting those bands of moisture moving in. And when we look at this particular swirling motion, you can see that it's already starting to highlight a few areas there on the actual radar. So I'm going to put it in stop mode just so I can zoom in and show you exactly what's happening at this moment. We do have a couple of things to talk about in those highlighted areas. You'll notice that we do have a flood warning, and this is for portions of northern Brevard County. That'll run through 1 o'clock this afternoon. So we got at least another half hour before that's said and done. But then you'll notice right around the 95 corridor going back towards Sanford, Deltona, DeLand, DeLeon Springs, all these areas included. And this is an aerial flood advisory that is in place through 2:15 this afternoon. We were anticipating this type of activity even with the aerial flood advisory going back toward the beach side, incorporating portions of Port Orange, just to the north of Ponce Inlet, going all the way up to Ormond Beach, back toward the 95 corridor, and then getting closer to the I-4 corridor and beyond. That area is under that flood advisory through 1 o'clock. So we did mention that today would definitely be a weather alert day, both Sunday and Monday. So when we actually go back and we look at this particular setup, you'll notice that we do have the flood watch in place through 8 o'clock this evening, and it's for all of Central Florida with the exception right now of Flagler County. So you'll notice that in the highlighted area, that's all of Central Florida, again, with the exception of Flagler, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall is in the forecast widespread. Locally higher amounts are quite possible, and though that has to do with multiple rounds of rain that could add up, and we could see 4 to 7 inches of rainfall accumulation. So when we talk about the threat, this is what we're talking about. We're not really talking about the severity of the storms. We're talking about the rainfall with it because it is so heavy, and we are going to see multiple rounds of heavy rainfall. Flooding, flash flooding is definitely one of those things that we are really watching heavily as we head into this evening and even into Wednesday. So the excessive rainfall outlook for today has highlighted the majority of Central Florida, excluding Flagler County. That is more in a marginal risk. The highlighted area in the yellow is the slight risk. And that is exactly where we could see these multiple rounds of rain really begin to add up. And they already have started to add up. That's the reason why we have the flood warning there in northern Brevard. And we also have those flood advisories in Volusia, as well as portion of Seminole County through this afternoon. So we're looking at a live look at Daytona Beach. Just really gloomy out there today. The cloud cover and the rain have both impacted the temperature department and will continue to do that. So look at temperatures right now outside your door. Orlando and Sanford, you're sitting at 77 degrees, while Daytona Beach only at 78. Melbourne is the warmest right now at 81. But of course, we're going to factor in that air you can wear out there, and it feels even hotter. Look at how hot it feels in the Miko area where it's currently 81. It feels like 86. Same thing in Melbourne. Winter Haven feels like 88 degrees while sitting at 81. Upper 70s when you get into Claremont, Leesburg, and Wildwood, still feeling like the low 80s. So I don't believe that high temperatures are going to make it to the upper 80s today. I do believe that we're going to stay in that lower 80s, but it's going to feel like that. So it's going to feel a lot hotter than it really is. Looking at the next 12 hours, folks, this is where our focus is going to be really through the afternoon going into the evening hours. So we're looking at from 2 going all the way to 8. Notice that the rain coverage is widespread. There will be times where it's light and drizzly, maybe not, you'll get a lull in between the bands of rain, and then all of a sudden here comes another downpour. So we're not talking about persistent downpours. Some areas, especially to the south and west, will get persistent heavy downpours, but there will be times where it'll be a little bit lighter and then it's going to pick up and then it'll take a break. So we're talking about those tropical downpours as this system kind of spreads back to the west and moves into the Gulf, which I'll show you in a moment. Heading into the rest of tonight, it does look like things will taper off, but we're not talking about completely, folks. Maybe by late tonight, that's where we'll see some drying. But this is what we're looking at. So when you see this area of low pressure, this is the mid-level moisture, okay? This is all of the moisture that we are talking about that is really starting to add up here in Central Florida. And whenever we move through later on this evening, notice that that low is actually going to start to drift into the northeastern Gulf of basically what we're looking at here is a lot of moisture still streaming back into Central Florida. So we're not out of the woods just yet. In fact, I do believe that's going to continue as another little stream of moisture moves in from the Bahamas as we head into Thursday. So I do believe we'll still have some rounds of heavy rain still out there waiting for us. So here is what the National Hurricane Center has highlighted. Looking at that area of low pressure, still currently moving across the peninsula, okay? That possible development area is at the highlighted area in the orange that we are watching. It has a 40% chance of taking on tropical development over the next 2 to 7 days. So that's up compared to the weekend where it was fairly low. It is now back up to like a medium chance, okay? So while that's still on the lower end, let's take a look here at the potential to see maybe a tropical depression. It is quite possible we could see that as that system moves into the Gulf of Mexico. So when we look at the tropical depression formation chances, these are just chances. I want to reiterate that. This is just an outlook, okay? This is nothing definitive, but what it does show is that it has a greater chance of taking on a tropical depression status as it moves farther west into the north central Gulf of Mexico. So that'll be something that we watch over the next several days. Meanwhile, here we go. We're going to walk you hour by hour because I know everybody's like, oh, is it going to continue to rain like this? Yeah, it is in bands of rains. Let's move ahead and we'll head into the 2 o'clock hour. Notice it kind of flares back up. This particular model hasn't been initializing all that well. So while we're still seeing that little clump of showers, I do believe that that rain is going to expand as we head into the afternoon hours. So if you're not getting rain just yet, just wait. It's going to be your turn eventually throughout the day. Notice that we still have some heavy rain bands, maybe a thunderstorm or two lingering through the commute home. Now, keep in mind, it's been raining a good portion of the day. So if it's not raining for your commute home, the roads are still going to be wet from all of the rain that has accumulated so far. You could see ponding on the roadways. You could see maybe a little bit of flooding on some areas where you have a tendency to flood if it's in your neighborhood. Keep in mind that those areas are likely going to be flooded at this point in time. As we head into the 8 o'clock hour, the models start to show, hey, some gradual clearing out is quite possible as we head into the rest of the night. Then as we head into early Wednesday morning, this is what we're looking at. Another dry start, but I think it's going to be relatively cloudy, maybe with a few peaks of sunshine. Throughout the day, though, we'll start to see, again, some moisture still streaming in as that system makes its way west into the Gulf. We're going to continue to see that moisture really funneling into Central Florida. And then what happens is we're going to see a little bit more action in the late afternoon to early evening hours, especially around the I-4 corridor and back to the west, because a lot of that moisture is going to be dragging itself along the western half of Central Florida. I think that's where the majority of the action is going to be. So a quick look at that 7-day forecast. We're going to keep high temperatures still in the upper 80s, maybe a few more peaks of sunshine for tomorrow. Upper 80s to low 90s as we head into the rest of today and tomorrow. The rest of the work week, though, by the end of the week, we're going to see more normalized pattern for us this time of year. Area high pressure will kind of settle in again back over the Atlantic and move back closer to Central Florida. And what that is going to do is that's going to put us into that more typical summer-like sea breeze pattern that we see this time of year. And of course, as a result of bringing those temperatures, bringing those rain chances down a little bit, and we'll get some more heating in place. We'll have high temperatures right around the mid-90s. And of course, it's still going to be humid each afternoon, Stephanie. It's going to be one of those days, one of those weekends where you'll definitely want to stay hydrated as you head outdoors for any plans, and of course, keep your rain gear with you.
Absolutely.
Each day. It's
Absolutely.
summertime. All the way through like October, right?
Yeah, literally, you have to have the umbrella and the poncho on you at all times. Thank
Yeah,
you so much, Samara.
Absolutely. No problem.
Let's turn now to some news. Now, this is a story you first saw here on News 6. A local daycare worker is facing charges accused of hitting an 18-month-old boy nearly a dozen times. Now, the alleged abuse happened last month at the Oviedo Christian Academy, and the boy's father recently reached out to us here at News 6 demanding answers and wanting to share his story. Now, our very own Catherine Silver sat down with him to discuss how this case unfolded.
I'm Catherine Silver in Oviedo, where we're learning a worker at a daycare was arrested by police for child abuse. I spoke to the 18-month-old parents about what happened to their little boy.
I enrolled him in hopes that he'd have a good environment, he'd learn Christian values.
Christopher Govan says his 18-month-old son Benjamin had been going to daycare at the Oviedo Christian Academy for about 2 months before one day at pickup he had scratches on his face.
He had 3 or 4 scratches just on one side of his face, a little bit of redness on the other side.
And what did they tell you had happened?
They said it was an accident.
That enough of an explanation for you?
No.
Govan says he requested to see what the facility's security cameras had captured. Those videos have not been released publicly, but a report obtained by News 6 states they show teacher Lucia Monieri grabbed the toddler after he bit another child.
One teacher did what she should, grabbed the other child, removed him from the situation. And then Lucia came over and did what she did with grabbing him by the face. Was yelling at him, in profanity in Spanish, yelling at him to stop biting. And then again proceeded to go to the other room and then yelled at him again and then started smacking him on the face repeatedly.
Monieri's arrest report says the toddler was hit with an open hand at least 6 times while sitting on the ground and crying, and again at least 4 times after he was pulled to a standing position. This arrest report for Monieri shows the actual incident happened on June 9th, but she wasn't arrested by police until over a week later. They tried to ask her about what happened, and she declined to speak with them. Monieri didn't want to speak with us either, at her home or on the phone where she told us to contact her lawyer.
Would you like to say anything?
He told us the video should be reviewed before anyone jumps to conclusions.
When we watched it, my wife was visibly, she had to leave the room.
Monieri was booked in jail on a child abuse charge. Documents show she's been a teacher for 2 decades.
It's very hard, and right now, we're not, and it's putting a burden on us. We're self-employed. We are turning down jobs at this point just because we have to take care of him.
In Oviedo, Catherine Silver, News 6.
Now, Florida's Attorney General is in Central Florida today. Just a short time ago, he held a news conference right here in Orlando. Now, News 6's Mark Lehman was there, and he explains what the AG had to say.
Florida's Attorney General issuing a warning to a nationally recognized swimming nonprofit. He says the organization needs to clearly ban men from competing against women or face legal action. Today, Attorney General James Uthmeyer was joined by Florida's Education Commissioner and the co-founder of the Independent Council on Women's Sports. He said he's calling on U.S. Masters Swimming to certify that they will not allow men to compete in women's sports. The announcement comes 4 years after the Fairness in Women's Sports Act was signed into law in 2021. That law uses the birth certificate as the determinant of an athlete's sex for the purpose of competition. U.S. Masters Swimming, which is based in Sarasota, recently changed its transgender competition policy on July 1st. But Uthmeyer says the interim policy still contains loopholes, and the nonprofit needs to make clear changes banning men from competing against women.
It's still hurting women. So we believe we have the legal authority to shut it down. We hope that they'll work with us amicably, but if they don't, then we'll pursue further legal action.
The Attorney General did not give a deadline for when U.S. Masters Swimming needs to respond, but he said his office is drafting a letter with further details as well as possible legal action. Now, we have reached out to U.S. Masters Swimming for their response, and as soon as we hear back, we'll let you know. For now, reporting in Orlando, Mark Lehman, News 6.
And happening right now, commissioners in Orange County are meeting to discuss expanding an agreement with Immigration, Custom and Enforcement, or ICE. Now, it would allow county corrections officers to help transport undocumented detainees to federal detention facilities, including the newly opened site in South Florida dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. News 6's Angie Quesada is at that meeting and explains that not everyone is in favor of this agreement.
Before the commission meeting even began, immigration advocates held a passionate press conference outside the Orange County Administration Building, urging leaders to end a federal detention agreement that they say adds fear and trauma to already vulnerable communities.
This is about people. This is about our dignity. So today, as we go into this county commission meeting, I am hopeful that the IGSA will once and for all be something in the history books. And our community will be remembered across the state as people who have stood strong for human rights, for human dignity, and for democracy.
The IGSA, or Intergovernmental Service Agreement, allows ICE to temporarily hold immigrants in the Orange County Jail, including transfers from out of state. And a new clause could require county staff to transport detainees to federal facilities, including a remote site in the Everglades nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz.
And when it comes to immigration, let's be honest. This county is not required to have an IGSA. Today we are asking for the mayor to rescind the IGSA.
Advocates point to Senate Bill 180, a new state law that mandates cooperation with ICE, but stress that the IGSA is optional and not required under state or federal law.
I've seen this before, and I am here to sound the alarm. And as an immigrant, as a human rights defender, I cannot stand idle as I see my brothers and sisters being taken to an encampment in the middle of the Everglades, living under horrible conditions. And all of that with our money, all of that in our name.
During public comment, dozens of residents echoed that message, asking for a formal hearing and full review of the county's involvement with ICE. Right now, commissioners have not committed to any action on the IGSA, but community members say they'll keep showing up until the county changes course. In Orange County, Angie Quesada, News 6.
Still to come this afternoon on News 6 Extra, we're going to have a recap from a 3-week mission on the International Space Station. We'll be right back. Welcome back to News 6 Extra. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez. 4 astronauts are back on Earth after a nearly 3-week stay aboard the International Space Station. This is now their SpaceX capsule splashed down overnight off the coast of Southern California. The Axiom 4 mission with an all-private crew was commanded by Peggy Whitson, who has now racked up a U.S. record of 695 days in space. Wow. CBS's Mark Strassam has a look at their mission.
This is an excellent view.
Streaking across the night sky over the Pacific, the Axiom 4 crew returned to Earth early Tuesday.
And we have splashdown of the AX4 crew back on planet Earth.
Welcome home. A short time later, the recovery team helped the crew out of their Dragon capsule, their first breath of fresh air after 20 days in space.
Ignition and liftoff.
Launched last month, the private mission managed by Axiom Space was commanded by veteran astronaut Peggy Whitson, making her 5th trip to space.
It's so much fun to be up in space again, always fun to be in space, but it's really fun to be in space with 3 new astronauts.
Her crewmates, these 3 rookie flyers, were government-sponsored astronauts from India, Poland, and Hungary, 3 nations that last sent someone to space more than 40 years ago.
It's really amazing. It's a truly amazing place.
Before she launched, we asked Whitson about the mission's goals.
I mean, it's the kind of mission that really puts the international in an international space station, doesn't it?
It does. It absolutely does. And it opens up access to countries that might not normally get access to space.
Mission accomplished. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Atlanta.
That's amazing. Now, it's often said that the U.S. manufacturing is dead and shipped overseas, gone for good, but you may be surprised to learn that that's not entirely true. In a massive facility over in Sanford, motorhomes that look more like mansions are being built from the ground up. News 6 anchor Matt Austin gives us a firsthand look.
I'm Matt Austin in Sanford. Most people think of manufacturing being something that happens far away overseas. But what if I told you this 100,000 square foot facility makes $2.5 million RVs right here in Central Florida? Today, I talked with the owner about how this all happens and what challenges they face.
When we walked in, we were just blown away.
It's a big day for Dexter and Sarah Jo Osteen.
I got chill bumps realizing this is our best.
The couple from Alachua is figuring out the ins and outs of an RV they ordered a year and a half ago.
This is one of our favorite features. We enjoy sitting and watching our TV and drinking our coffee in the morning.
That TV just appeared out of nowhere.
It comes out of nowhere.
This mansion on wheels was pieced together in a 120,000 square foot facility in Sanford. Millennium Luxury Coaches defies the stereotype that Florida is not a manufacturing state.
This is homegrown. These are Floridians building a product that is known throughout the world, that is known for quality, that is known for excellence.
These RVs range in price from $2 million to $2.7 million. Every piece of fabric and every material is hand-picked by the customer. Even the couches and cabinets are custom made inside this building.
My customers are willing to pay the price for something that was made here. The fact that my customer can talk to the cabinet maker for his motorhome is invaluable, and that's appreciated. That is true craftsmanship.
Nelson, a U.S. Army veteran, started this business with $500 in his bank account 25 years ago. Now, his team of 110 employees makes 12 to 15 of these pricey coaches per year, and he's navigating a complicated climate.
So you're dealing with tariffs, you're dealing with inflation, you're dealing with labor shortages. As a manufacturer in Central Florida, what would you say is the biggest challenge you face?
Biggest challenge right now, our workforce is aging out. You know, I'm having a lot of folks retire. You cannot replace a cabinet maker today.
Figueroa says he pays his workforce 30 to 40% more since COVID. Inflation has caused his prices to rise, and tariffs on imports from places like Italy have become a headache.
A company like ours is a target for other companies to take advantage of.
Still, customers like the Osteens are lining up.
You have your air fryer, microwave, convection oven all in one.
To spend their retirement in one of these palaces on wheels.
We're looking forward to another adventure.
This company, Millennium Luxury Coaches, has been going strong for 25 years, and if they can weather all of these challenges, they hope to be here for many more. In Sanford, I'm Matt Austin, News 6.
That's all we have today for News 6 Extra. Remember, you can always get the latest update over at clickorlando.com and, of course, on our streaming app. And join us on air. We're back at 4 o'clock. See you later.